Today I want to help you understand why you're staying stuck. If it's a goal you're working towards, maybe something, a pattern that keeps repeating in your life, why you keep on staying stuck here, and how to make a conscious change so that you can free. I liken life and our unconscious mind to this ball of wool, right? And if we're staying stuck, it's because there's a particularly tight knot. There might just be one little string here or here that we just need to pull a little bit and something will unravel. And we keep on doing the inner work, the deep inner work, and we will keep on unraveling this ball of wool, and we will experience freedom. We will experience peace in whichever area of life it is that we're working towards. No, it's not always easy, but this is why we incarnated here. So let's have fun with it. So I want you to just take a moment and have a think about one thing that you're working towards. We're going to do a little bit of, we're going to make this a bit interactive. So one thing that you're working towards, maybe it's in money, maybe it's in your career, in your purpose, in your relationships, like whatever dream or vision that you're working towards. And then, and an area that you feel particularly stuck in. And maybe it's because you notice that the pattern keeps on repeating. It's 1 year later, you thought you'd had some growth and you're back where you started. Or, you're fed up of banging your head against the wall going, I've been here before. You're frustrated. You feel stuck. You are getting pissed. Like, what is that one thing? So I just want you to sit with that. And I want you to notice whatever emotions or sensations come up in the body, because this is your nervous system's way of giving you a message. And working with your nervous system, as well as your unconscious mind, as well as your vision and all of the tools that you have in your personal development, spiritual growth toolbox, they're all going to work together. So we need to be very aware of our body as well as what's coming up from the mind. So first, I'd like you to just sit with this one thing, and I'd like you to ask yourself, is it really true that I'm not getting anywhere? Is it really true that I am staying stuck? And so just feel into this. So say it's in money. Is it really true? Is it really true that I am back where I started? Because let's look at where you started, or where you first noticed this pattern, or whatever you're comparing yourself to. First of all, comparing yourself to something you're living in the past, you're not living in the moment. So being in your body is helping you live in the moment. So is it really true that I haven't grown? Because then let's look between this point and this point, the point where you are now, this point. Is it really true that I haven't grown? The answer is probably, no, it's not true, because I've accomplished this and this and this and this and this and this. And what you'll notice is you might feel the pattern, the stuckness might feel the same as it did here. But in between here, you've come up. So you have evolved. You are evolving. I want you to give credit where credit's due. You are doing the work. So we're up here because we evolve in a spiral, not in a straight line. So let's give some credit where credit's due, because like chances are, if you're doing the work, you are evolving. Things are changing. So you might have increased your capacity to allow a certain amount of money every month. You might have increased your capacity to the amount of love that you are able to receive. You might look at previous relationships and notice how they've evolved to be more in alignment with who you are and your truth and what you deserve. So while ever you're doing the work, you are constantly evolving. You are constantly changing and shifting. But if there's a particularly stuck pattern, particularly charged pattern where you feel like you're just not getting anywhere or things are never changing, then we need to go a layer deeper. We need to go into the unconscious mind, into your shadow self, to ask deeper questions. Like, what else is being asked of you? And this is likely where a lot of your lessons you're here to learn, are in this challenge. So I want you to view this as your spiritual practice. So spiritual practice isn't just sitting in silence and meditating and going on the retreats and evolving, like aligning our energy and evolving, like taking more plant medicine. That's not the only spiritual practice. The spiritual practice is also living your life, learning the lessons and going through this evolution. So you could go and meditate as a monk in the mountains for 30 years and still like have lessons to learn. So, and then, you may have the joy of reincarnating again to learn those lessons that you're not learning. So some of like what we might notice on the spiritual path is that we get asked to, or like it's easy to just get stuck in meditation, and that's a form of freeze response. So this is why it's also important to be aware of our bodies, aware of our nervous system, like how do we feel in this moment? How do we feel when we're thinking about this pattern? What is our first response of what we want to do? Do we want to go into fight? Do we want to go into flight? Are we freezing? What are we doing? How is our nervous system feeling? How is our body feeling? And then once we're okay with that, we get to go a level deeper. We get to go into the shadow and just see what else comes up. In my opinion, shadow work is always best done with a professional coach or analyst, somebody with experience in Jungian psychology or similar. A little bit biased because that's what I do and it's how my life has changed with the knowledge and wisdom that Carl Jung brought into the world. But yeah, I would really recommend doing any shadow work with a trained professional, because your ego can be very sneaky, but you can get started without. You can get started with videos like this, with journal prompts, and just going into your own process. So wherever you're acting, living from the shadow, you can't be true to yourself. So you're going to keep on staying stuck in those areas because you're not realizing the true self. You're living from the false self, and that false self is the ego. It's your conditioned self. It's all the programs, patterns that are living in your unconscious mind. So and you're being controlled by those unconscious patterns, emotions, whatever has been repressed, because it's your ego's way of keeping you safe, because it's what it knows. So however you were brought up, it's what it knows. It's going to act accordingly. So your job is to live your life and change that if you want to, of course. I imagine if you're watching this, you do, because you feel stuck. So let's go into the unconscious mind. Let's sit and sit and take a deep breath. Journal and pen to hand. And I want you to ask, what is my deepest fear around receiving everything I want? What do I actually fear around this thing becoming unstuck? And then I want you to go down a rabbit hole of stream of consciousness writing. Allow it to flow through. What is your deepest fear around this? Then I want you to sit with any emotions that come up. I want you to keep on asking why. Be with the uncomfortable emotions and sensations that come up, because that's a younger part of you asking to be seen. Shadow work is about seeing, loving, accepting your whole self. Then you're able to become the true self. Then you're able to act from truth. This means living a soul-aligned life and claiming everything that is your birthright. Everything that is your birthright is abundance, is true love, is peace, is joy, is bliss. That is what you're here to claim. But wherever you're living from unconscious patterns, conditionings, you're going against that. So that's your lesson. That's what you're here to learn. That's how you become unstuck. So what is your greatest fear around having what you want? go down the rabbit hole, sit with everything. Be with the sensations that come up in your body, deep breaths, longer exhale to help regulate your nervous system. You can remind yourself that you are safe as you're going through this. I am safe to receive everything I want. I am safe to change this pattern. And the most important thing to changing the pattern is taking inspired action outside of how you've been conditioned. This is how you make the real change. There's changing the rewiring in the body, and then there's taking action from the new wiring. It's how we make the lasting changes, by rewiring the neuroplasticity in the brain so that we can choose to act outside of the fear that we were conditioned to live by. So taking inspired action is consciously making the change. Taking inspired action is how you get unstuck. So a question to ask yourself is, okay, so I feel stuck in this situation again, kind of aware what's coming through. And now, how do I act outside of my conditioning? What is a decision that I need to make that is different than the conditioned pattern? What is a decision that I need to make that's slightly uncomfortable, but it goes against what I would normally do, and it feels aligned, and it feels like that's what my soul is asking me to do? Throughout all of this, you can check in with your heart. Your heart will help guide you. Know that you aren't meant to stay stuck in these patterns. You are meant to evolve through them. You are evolving through them if you can do the work, if you can regulate your nervous system, if you can sit with the emotions, if you can make decisions outside of the fear, understand where the fear came from, make the unconscious conscious. All of these things are helping you to change your reality. I've recently sat with myself and some thoughts and some reflections, and I realized that it's not my will, it's thy will. And my being the ego, thy being God, consciousness, the creator. Consciousness doesn't want you to stay stuck. Consciousness wants you to live the biggest life that you can. Consciousness wants you to go and have fun and play and be the creator of your reality, because what fun is it you are creating your reality, but you're creating it from fear. But the world is your playground. So why not? So the consciousness, thy will, is actually for you to go and live your highest potential. Is to go and really, really align with your essence, the essence of being the co-creator of your reality, the essence of being love, of radiating that from your being and attracting all of these incredible things into your life. That's what consciousness wants for you. Consciousness wants to play through you. It doesn't want to be stuck through you. Although technically speaking, it doesn't mind, because it just is. But it's the ego that wants to keep you stuck. The small conditioned self wants to keep you stuck. Consciousness wants you to go and play. Your higher self wants you to go and play. So which one are you going to choose? I hope this video has helped. If there's a particular area you're stuck in, you can reach out to me. If you're stuck in love and money, I have an incredible free guide that you can download in the link in the description. If you want to dive a little bit deeper into shadow work and dream work, I have an amazing bundle that you can invest in, which is also in the description. If you want to take your journey deeper still, I'm opening my private books for 2 clients over the summer, and you can sign up to the waitlist to learn more about that, also in the description. I hope this helped. Sending you lots of love, and I'll see you soon.